Minecraft. A game so well known you'd probably struggle to find people under 70 that haven't heard of it. One of my favourite aspects of the game is its minimalist yet ambient and fun soundtrack by composer Daniel Rosenfeld, better known as C418. And if you look at Spotify, it seems lots of people agree. So in this video, I'm going to analyse a couple of Minecraft's tracks and talk about what I think makes them so special. For a score that has no soaring climaxes or narrative arc to follow, Minecraft's music is surprisingly memorable. Daniel Rosenfeld's eclectic mix of synthesizers, piano, and sound effects provide calming ambience and memorable melodies. These create a sonic backdrop that suits the generally relaxed pace of the game. The way the music fades in and out as you play also dilutes the sense of time, encouraging you to explore and progress at your own pace. It creates a sense of apathy from the game towards the player, as the same themes play whether you are running through a field or in an intense fight with monsters. Overall, it makes the player feel small and insignificant amongst the huge scope of the world. Let's take a look at the track Moog City, the name of which mentions the Moog synthesizer that Rosenfeld used to compose much of the score. It's one of the more texturally diverse pieces on the soundtrack, and doesn't feel very minimalist when compared to the solo piano of Sweden or Dry Hands, but it still adheres to minimalist composition techniques in a different way. The piece starts with this synthesizer arpeggio. Notice the use of non-diatonic notes, meaning you can't really tell if it has a major or minor tonality. Also notice the shift in dynamics, with the arpeggiator slowing as it gets louder. While this introduction may just be a simple repetition played on one instrument, there is already a lot to think about. You might have picked up that the last note on the 10th repetition of the arpeggio is a major second higher than the other repetitions. Combined with the changing pace of the synthesizer, these subtle variations keep the listener interested in the music for what is essentially 30 seconds of the same 8 notes. Another of C418's achievements with the Minecraft soundtrack is creating a soundscape reflective of the game's mood. The generally apathetic opening of Moog City starts to be developed as the arpeggio is doubled in the bass by another synth track. However, before the piece progresses into the familiar realm of chords and melody, the composer sows seeds of tension with some atonal echoes trailing off the end of each arpeggiated run. This semi-impressionist approach to adding emotion fits really well with the otherwise minimalist approach to development, resulting in a uniquely fitting piece of music. I think the ideas Rosenfeld conveys in this track are wonderfully representative of Minecraft as a whole. Most of the game is calm and contemplative, focused on exploring and building, but there is a darker side there if you're willing to find it. That darker side underscores the experience of playing Minecraft in the same way the arpeggio is persistent throughout the whole of Moog City. Sometimes it's at the forefront of the experience, and sometimes it's mixed down so you barely notice it, but it's always there. So music can be minimalist without being the same idea for 5 minutes straight, and with the integration of some impressionist elements, it can create an emotive soundscape, but where do these themes fit into the rest of the soundtrack? Well, let's look at Sweden, easily the most well-known song from Minecraft's soundtrack. C418 takes a similar approach to minimalism here as in Moog City, having a constant idea present throughout the piece. In this case, it's a simple chord progression and bass line, E minor, D major, to F sharp minor, and landing on A major. The alternation between major and minor chords gives the piece a melancholic feeling, without it being explicitly sad. The relatively simple melodic variations that progress over the unchanging chords definitely augment the calm atmosphere of the piece. Where Moog City feels closer to 20th century minimalism, like the works of composer Philip Glass, Sweden sounds to me to be more inspired by ambient compositions. The works of legendary composer Brian Eno spring to mind. The slow building of texture as string accompaniment fades in over the piano is similar to the way the music fades in and out of Minecraft's world as you play. These attributes definitely emphasize the more calming moments in Minecraft, adding to the sense of awe and insignificance the player feels when they first realize the scope of the world. But despite its melancholic and reflective tone, Sweden has one particular moment which seems to create hope and push the player forward. After the first ending cadence, the main theme is reintroduced, played by violins in a high register. This staccato, or detached version of the theme, combined with the bright tone color of the violin, creates a hopeful mood, contrasting the first half of the piece. Although the same musical material is reused, the different arrangement turns the meaning of the piece completely on its head. It's amazing how such a small change can have such a big impact on the way music is received, and that's part of what makes the soundtrack so memorable. With Moog City in Sweden, C418 approaches minimalism in very different ways. The piece's texture, style of variation, and ultimate mood all differentiate them, but they both fit into the same game world just as well as each other. I think this is testament to both Minecraft's state as a blank canvas, and also the composer's creativity when writing the soundtrack. I hope you enjoyed this brief musical analysis. You can follow me on Twitter and find all the sources for the video in the description below. Thanks for watching.